You did good.
That gets the whole body. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it does.
Cameron Kicklighter here with AHT TV, and today I am joined by the lovely Jamie Hagale. Thank you so much for being here. This video is very much a continuation of my workout video that I did a few months ago. So today we're gonna do some yoga stuff.
Yes, we are.
We both know how much riding and traveling to horse shows and everything just completely like wreck your body. And so we've been talking a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I know that you have a pretty intense workout kind of yoga routine. So tell me a little bit about how that kind of translates into what you do with horses.
Well, being an adult amateur rider, I don't have the time to get to the barn like I'd like to 2-3 days a week. You know, it's one of those things you don't get to practice and work those muscles like you'd like to. So for me, integrating yoga, Pilates, and my other workouts is super important.
I think for me, something that yoga showed me kind of towards riding was that, and some people may identify with this, is I used to hold my breath when I rode. And I think yoga, you know, you enter these poses, and a lot of times riding, you're holding a specific posture, you're doing one specific movement, and I think it's easy to kind of forget that element of you still have to relax and breathe.
Right.
And so yoga for me was that outlet of learning how to target certain muscles but breathe through it.
Exactly.
And it helped me tremendously with riding. So I'm excited that we're doing this, and also because I know, again, like, you know, people come to these horse shows, they're riding a lot, they're getting a lot of lessons, and you're sore, you know, you've been traveling, your back may hurt, and so I think there's also just the application of taking care of yourself so that you can get through a 10-day horse show and not feel like you've been destroyed by the end of it.
Definitely.
So
I think self-care is super important when your hours of sleep are just totally off track. And when you are able to get sleep, guess what? You did it wrong, and you wake up and your neck hurts.
You're in a different bed than you normally are.
Flying and just, you know, people don't think about the small things. Wearing boots all day, every day. Your lumbar spine, everything just tightens, and by the end of a show, it's pretty uncomfortable. So if we can just take a few minutes out of our day in the morning or after we ride or at night to kind of take care of ourselves, it'll help us in the long run. And you know, maybe yoga is not everyone's passion, but why not try it so that it helps the longevity of what our passions are. We can, you know, if we take care of ourselves, then we can do what we truly care about longer.
Yeah, and I think something, and we'll kind of get to this within the video, is that this stuff, it's not like you have to do a full-on yoga class or routine. You can literally take 1 or 2 movements that target a certain area and yeah, do that.
Absolutely.
So why don't we get into it? So beforehand, we did have a moment to chat and just kind of talk about some common things that equine people might experience throughout their bodies. So we have a few movements planned. I'm definitely already sore at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get through it. I might struggle, but you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Okay, so where do you think we should start? How do you want to start?
Let's start in downward dog.
Okay.
I think people are familiar with downward dog, and it's such a great pose because it targets almost every muscle. It's great for strengthening and for flexibility.
My legs and my butt and my back are already burning. Okay, and you might not be able to see it from that camera, but we have these amazing yoga mats, by the way, Aftershock and Destination Victory. So cool. You're beautiful stallions, so
yeah.
I love these. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna do downward dog. Anything to keep in mind before we get into this pose?
You know, downward dog does not have to be a position that you feel like you're torturing yourself.
Right.
I think a lot of people are, well, I can't do that, my hamstrings are too tight.
Right.
Well, try it with bent knees.
Right.
Try it with your heels lifted.
You don't have to feel the burn or feel like any sort of intense sensation.
Right, right. So it can start off gradual. So with downward dog, you're hitting almost every muscle group, whether it's strengthening or stretching. So we're gonna place our hands down. And what I like about this is when we're riding and we have our reins in our hands, our wrists are inward. So here, we're in opposition with our wrist. And really think about pressing down it firmly and equally into all 10 fingers. And on our exhale, we're gonna lift our hips up and reach our heels down. Again, your heels do not have to touch the mat.
Okay.
So take a nice big inhale, and on your exhale, lift your hips.
Oh, Nelly.
So I'm gonna kind of talk through this just a little bit. So what we're striving to work here is a stretch through the hamstrings,
I feel that.
through the calves.
Yep.
The goal would be to let the heels come down to the mat. Not everyone's gonna get there, and that's okay.
That's the goal. You're far from it right now.
So from here, I want you to think about your thoracic spine. Okay, so we're trying to flatten this and reach. So you're gonna lift your pelvic floor. So lift your sit bones for the ceiling. Yep.
I don't know if I'm doing
You're
that,
doing
but-
good. And now you're gonna pull your belly button into your spine. So this is working everything. It's working your core, your shoulder girdle, your traps, your biceps, your hands, your wrist. How does it feel?
Great.
Okay. So, and we have to remember our inhales and exhales.
Oh yeah, I definitely was not breathing properly. Cool. It's been a while since I've done like an actual coordinated downward dog.
You did good.
That gets the whole body. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Okay. Good job on that.
Ooh.
Good job.
What do we have next?
Let's work. I just mentioned being tight in the hip flexors.
Okay.
So Malasana. This is,
do it.
yeah, so it's a deep squat.
This
Okay.
I can do.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna have our feet just a little bit wider than hip distance. And you're gonna, how about hands, yep, at heart center, and then drop down. So you're gonna drop your pelvis down to the mat, to right there. And then you're gonna press your elbows, yep, into your knees. Okay, so you're gonna let your hips drop.
You're gonna wince in pain.
Yep. Chest stays lifted. Okay, so what I think is important here is you're getting a great hip stretch, but you're also working your pelvic floor. Because you're probably unaware, but you're lifting your pelvis right now.
I'm very aware.
You're using those muscles. So it gets circulation going to your pelvic floor, regulates sexual activity, which, I mean, that's another.
Hello.
That's another class. But things that yoga does that we just don't even think about. And you are working on your ankle strength right now.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so take a nice big inhale, exhale, lift yourself up, use your pelvic floor, good job. So when you use your pelvic floor to lift you and your posture comes upright and you feel lighter. So just like in the saddle when we're posting, the more we can use our pelvic floor and our core symmetrically all the way around, we're lighter in the saddle. Okay, now let's move on to Camel Pose.
Perfect.
Okay, so Camel Pose, what I like about this for equestrians is it works your ankles in opposition to what they're used to. Ankles are always in flexion.
I feel like we said, like people always forget about
Right.
taking care of your ankles.
Right.
So
Camel Pose works the ankles, stretches those really nicely. Hip flexors, it's a deep stretch for your hip flexors. It opens up the abdominals, it helps digestion, and the chest cavity. Because when we're in a forward hunched motion, which, I mean, let's face it, we are.
A lot of times.
Over time, it's hard to really breathe, take
Right.
those deep breaths that we need. So Camel Pose opens us up in so many areas
All
of the
right.
front body. Okay, so we're gonna kneel down, knees under our hips.
Okay.
This is a really easy position to go into extension in our lower back. Pull the hips underneath
Forward.
the shoulders so you're nice and tall and lifted. And this is one that might scare people a little bit. So whatever way is comfortable for you to get into it, I say go for it. If that's starting with your hips down and then just one hand on the heel and really lifting up. So press your hips, your pelvic, yep, your pelvis forward, reach up, yep. So you're thinking of that lift, yep, and opening up through the chest cavity. Now can you take it a step further and place the other hand back on the heel?
Oh, like hold it with both?
Right. So we take a nice big inhale into extension and then reach back and lift.
I mean, I'll try, but I'm not like a level 7 wizard, so I don't know. Okay. So does this hand, is it up here or down here?
It can be on your ankle, on your heel. I find it easier to do it on your heel.
Okay.
Because it's just a little bit elevated. And that's perfect. You can stay right there. So what we can do is just come down and up. So you take your, yeah. So, okay, so on our inhale, we're gonna reach our pelvis forward, lift, 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 and reach, and then just come down and switch. So that's all it has to be, and it does not have to be a huge extension, because even a little bit is gonna put us more open in the front side of the body than we're used to.
Okay.
So take a couple inhales and lift the hips and reach, open up the heart, and bring the seat down and switch. Nice. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels great.
Okay, so did you feel it in your ankles? Did you feel a nice stretch?
I did. I do this a lot to kind of get this, but I don't really come up and out, so it just kind of shifts your weight a little different.
Yep.
But
Good job. Good job. Okay, so we did Malasana, a deep squat.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do Skandasana, which is a half squat.
half squat.
Okay, what I like about this is it's a good inner thigh groin stretch, but when you come up, oh, see, I got to pop. So when you lift yourself up, you are using the entire leg to lift you. So you're using the glute, the hamstring, the quad, the inner thigh, because a lot of times when we ride, we have really strong, tight inner thighs.
That's what I have right now from a workout that I did.
Right, but our outer legs
this feels fine.
are neglected.
Yeah.
So we lose that strength and stability in our outer hips, our outer legs, because we're always adducting. We're always squeezing in. So we don't want to forget the outer legs, because that gives us stability and strength to keep our knees safe, our lower back. So in Skandasana, when we squat down into it, and if you want, you can take a nice big inhale here.
I don't want to.
And then we're going to use our pelvic floor, our inner thighs, outer thighs, booty. Nice big exhale to lift us into the other side. Okay, so again here we've got hamstring, inner thigh, groin, but on the up, we're using that leg to lift us.
Whew.
How does that feel?
Good.
Good. Good job. So you're going to use your exhale on the exertion to lift you. Yep. Good job. And really think about your pelvic floor as you come up. Yep, again, that's our foundation. That's our kind of our elevator. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, one thing we need to talk about, IT bands.
IT bands.
So I feel like a lot of times men, especially, all of us, but especially get really tight in their IT bands.
Okay, just for people to know, like, where does your IT band
Your
run along?
iliotibial, it connects all the way from your glute, so way up here down to your knee. So a lot of times it's runner's knee, cyclist, equestrians.
Right.
Just most athletes are going to have tight IT bands. So we want to keep that stretched out, because a lot of times they think an injury is something that it is not, when actually we just have really tight.
I know myself, I roll this quite a bit with a roller.
Rolling's great. It can hurt a little bit.
Oh my gosh, it's so painful.
But usually when it hurts, it's because we need to be doing
But
it.
I do notice, like, I'll go to like do a squat or something, a movement, I'm like, ooh, and I'll roll it out, and
Right.
it feels 100 times better once I'm done.
So if you're traveling, if you're at a horse show and you cannot bring your big roller, I just a tennis ball. You can lay down and just roll it out, just up and down. Yeah, you want to try?
No. This is gonna hurt so
It
bad.
hurts. It does hurt. And the point is not to torture
Ooh.
yourself. You can take it slow.
Yeah, and you can adjust how much weight
Yes,
you put into
definitely,
it. And I've always, like, when I find a sticky spot, I'll just kind of like pause there
Yep.
for a second.
And deep breaths.
Take a couple deep
Yep.
breaths. Think about sunshine and rainbows and happier times.
Exactly. Because
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
comfortable.
It's like it burns, hurts so good.
Good job.
All right,
Okay, so IT bands are important.
let's do IT bands.
So there's a couple things we can do here. Pigeon pose, which I think a lot of people have a hard time getting into. I'm going to demonstrate that for you and then give a modification.
Perfect.
Okay, so I like to get into pigeon pose through a downward dog. So here we are. Let's lift the leg into our three-legged dog. Reach, reach, reach. Pull the knee forward to the chest. Lay the leg down and then sit back into it. Now, when we're in our pigeon pose, really try to sink those hips. Okay, so
I think that's what a lot of people ends up happening is they're kind of up
right,
and tilted.
right, and so we want to be like, think of your hips as headlights. You're trying to shine them both forward. So you can stay here. You can lay down. Again, I think this is a little intimidating for some people.
Yeah.
So a modification would be lizard.
Okay.
Okay, so you've got this leg on the outside of your hand. If you want to take it further, you can go down and do a twist. So I'm feeling the stretch, well, I'm feeling it in my left hip flexor,
Yeah.
but through the right side of my leg. And you can twist. There's so many different variations.
And yeah, I mean, if it's hard to get into, you can kind of stay up
Right.
here. You can come down. You can, like you said, oh, there we go.
Yep, good job.
Whew.
Another easy IT band stretch for people that are like, I cannot get into that position. Just cross your legs, take a nice big inhale, lift through the crown of the head, and as you exhale, bring your hands down to the mat, and you will feel that all the way through the right side of your leg. Okay, so that's a much simpler, do it wherever you are. Great stretch. Good job.
Got to get both sides. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna finish up with one more move, cat-cow.
Yes.
This is a fun one. So yeah, talk to me about it.
I like starting and finishing with cat-cow. It's great for the spine. It's very similar to bridging in that you really want to isolate through the lower, through the upper, because anyone can just throw their hips up and down, but once you really isolate it, you're going to feel a different sensation. So how about get on all fours? Okay, so when you start here, you're in a nice neutral spine. What we really want to pay attention to is that your head is not dropped, because so many times we're face forward here.
Oh, so if you're here, bring it up.
Yeah, really think of it as one line, one chain from top of your head through your tailbone. So you're lengthening, you're trying to be as long as you possibly can. Okay, so take an inhale. On your exhale, we're gonna tip the tailbone down to the floor, and you're gonna slowly roll up the back. Yep. One vertebra at a time. Let the chin come to the chest and the head drop. Okay, so do you feel that stretch? Okay, nice, and really pull that tailbone for the chin, because you want the stretch here too. Reach, reach, reach. Now you're gonna, you're gonna lift your pelvis, your hip bones, and gradually work through that extension and let the chest drop, the shoulders open, and a nice big inhale. Good job. Now exhale, pull the tailbone down. Yep. Press into my hand, all the way down, reach that tailbone for the chin, and then again, release it. Nice big inhale, opens you up. Good job.
Ooh.
How does that feel?
Good. So when I'm rolling, it starts from the back. As like I transition from when I'm starting from the back and keep rolling it forward, I guess.
Right,
Okay.
right. Yep, exactly.
Whew.
Yeah, when you take it slow and you really, really think about the movement,
Yeah.
it changes it.
I think we're also just so used to like putting ourselves into it to like get like kind of feel the burn or whatever we're looking for from the stretch or the movement that we can forget about how you get into it is just as important, and taking that slowly and doing it mindfully.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
This was really fun, and I just hope everyone realizes the importance of taking care of ourselves and stretching and really tending to what our body needs.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you again. Your family has been so amazing with HGTV, so I appreciate it. And I hope everyone watching this, if there's a movement or something in there that speaks to you or that you think could help you during the show or just in your daily life, try it. You know, why not? So thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.